Okay, so Zara, tell me about your experience with your breast cancer diagnosis and also the Mrs. Illinois experience and how the two are related and how you went from being completely reclusive about the experience to sharing it to help other women.
Well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer about 2.5 years ago, back in spring 2009. I had gone for my mammogram. I had already noticed a lump 3 months prior, but had dismissed it because I didn't think that I knew I had dense breasts, and I thought that because no one in my family had ever been diagnosed with breast cancer, the chances of my having it were slim. So I had gone to my doctor back in early 2009, and when she examined me, she asked me whether or not I knew that I had a lump there. I told her that I did. She wanted to know how long, and I said, oh, about 3 months. She immediately wrote a prescription for me to go for a mammogram. Well, after going through several tests, it was determined that the lump was malignant. I had gone in for the diagnostic mammogram and then sent to a breast surgeon to do a biopsy. And 3 days later, he was calling me with the diagnosis that it was malignant. From then, my world just spiraled down. It was kind of like an out-of-body experience, though, because I found myself trying to gather all the information I could from the internet, what's going to be next, what's going to happen. And then after first a lumpectomy, and then they determined that I hadn't cleared my margins. So I went from a lumpectomy to a mastectomy, and from a mastectomy to chemotherapy. So the whole time, summer of 2009 to late September 2009, I was in treatment, and it was a lonely place. It was a lonely place in that I chose not to share what I was going through unless I had to. And of course, my immediate family needed to know, my employer needed to know, but outside of that, I wanted to keep it very private. And I still struggle with why the privacy, but I think it had a lot to do with maybe how we grew up in the South, and that and in our community as a whole. I think we tend to keep those things private. So I didn't want many people to know about what I was going through, that I had been diagnosed. So I went throughout my summer pretty much faking it. I would go to appearances or go to different parties as I could. If I weren't going through treatment that week, I might make an appearance, but the appearances would be short-lived, and we'd make some excuse as to why I'd have to go home, or just not show up and excuse ourselves as to why we weren't going to be there. And then I finally got through the treatment, and I started slowly to get my life back together. And eventually I would run across people, and in conversation I find out that they had gone through breast cancer treatment. And then I share my story, and I felt a little bit more comfortable. But I thought, okay, I'm supposed to share my story on a one-on-one basis, just as the need arises. I didn't see the need to make it public, what I was going through. And then a year and a half passes. Early winter of 2011, I was shopping for a dress to wear to a gala, and I was approached in a boutique one day to participate in the Mrs.Illinois pageant. And I'm there with my daughter-in-law, and I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, they must be talking about my daughter-in-law, because they obviously can't be talking about me. I'm a grandmother, and I'm just getting over breast cancer. So they can't possibly be talking about me. And I said, no, I don't think so. And she goes, you'd be great at it. And I thought, well, let me think about it. She gave me information. I took it home, to my husband, and I asked him what he thought. And he thought it was a good idea. He thought it would be good for me. He said that I had a story to share. And so it was after that that I still hadn't decided at that point. Once I decided to participate in the pageant, I still hadn't decided whether or not I was going to share my story, share my journey. It wasn't until after I won the title that I felt that I had an obligation as Mrs.Illinois to speak to those that are struggling with either going for their checkups or that have been recently diagnosed. I felt the need that I needed to be that spokesperson to say early detection is the key to survival with a breast cancer diagnosis, and then to those who are going through treatment, that there is life after breast cancer diagnosis. So that's pretty much why I decided to come out and have a voice for those that don't feel that they can speak out. I want to be that voice.